Let me tell you a truth that might hurt. A woman's biggest defeat isn't losing you. It's realizing she lost the power she had over you. That's the moment we feel the absence of what we took for granted. Your attention, your presence, your affection. And when that happens, the female mind collapses. And that's exactly what I'll show you here. How this turning point happens inside of us, phase by phase, and how you can use it to your advantage. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I'm going to teach you things no man around you knows. Topic 1. When silence speaks louder than 1,000 messages, you know, when you stop texting, the whole game changes. And I need to tell you this, silence has a power you underestimate. It's not about ignoring or playing games, it's about showing, without a single word, that you're not available all the time. And believe me, we women feel that like a shock. It's in that empty space that attraction grows and male charisma speaks louder than any declaration. When you pull back, even unintentionally, the female mind doesn't stop. She checks her phone, wonders why you didn't reach out. Psychology is at play. Absence creates doubt, doubt creates curiosity, and curiosity turns into attraction. The female behavior can't stand unanswered questions because the ego hates losing ground. Here's a real example. When you don't reply to that good morning right away or stop reacting to her stories like you used to, what does she do? She posts another one, maybe even a provocative picture just to get your attention. It's almost automatic. She feels uneasy because what she thought she had under control suddenly feels like it's slipping away. But be careful. This isn't about turning cold or manipulative. Women see through that fast. The secret is simple. Live your life. Go train, learn something new, invest in your work, read about psychology, or even relationships. When silence comes from a life that's full, it's not a game. It's natural. And natural always wins. And here's the cruel detail. The more you live your life without justifying yourself, the louder your silence becomes in her mind. Because deep down, the female ego can't handle losing control. And that's where the real emotional war begins. Topic 2. The invisible weight of small things. You might think it's the big gestures that matter most in a relationship, but here's the truth. The small things carry more weight. When you don't realize it, it's that forgotten good night, that tiny missed detail, that makes the difference. We notice everything, and that's where female behavior shows its strength. What looks small to you often feels huge to us. Want to see how it works? Imagine you always ask if she got home safe, but suddenly you stop. Feels like nothing to you, right? But inside her head, the ego screams, why doesn't he care anymore? Psychology is clear here. Small breaks in pattern become giant alarms in a woman's mind. And it's in that gap where attraction is either lost or strengthened. I know. A lot of men think they need to compensate with surprises, expensive gifts, or dramatic declarations. But that's not what sticks. What really matters are the little, consistent actions day to day. The charisma of remembering her favorite snack, or noticing she changed her hair color. That's where the relationship gains depth. But the opposite is just as true. When those small things disappear, the impact is devastating. She feels downgraded, from priority to option, and her silence isn't silence. It's hidden resentment. Female behavior translates forgotten details as disinterest. And when that happens, attraction evaporates. So the secret is mastering balance, knowing when to give attention to the small things and when to let their absence weigh. Because deep down, it's that invisible weight that defines how she sees you. And that leads straight to the farce of female indifference. Topic 3. The farce of female indifference. Let me open your eyes. When a woman pretends to be indifferent, it's almost never real. It's theater, it's a mask. We do this to mess with your head, to plant doubt. Female behavior works like this, showing strength on the outside while inside ego and emotion are fighting. So if you think that whatever really means she doesn't care, you're being fooled. A classic example. She sees you looking good, catching other women's eyes, and she throws a dry, oh, nice. Looks cold, right? But her heart is burning inside. This is pure psychology. Women hide jealousy behind indifference because showing it would mean giving you too much power. It's pride, not lack of feeling. And here's what you need to remember. The harder she tries to act like she doesn't care, the more it means she still does. If it was real disinterest, she wouldn't waste energy pretending. This farce is a way to provoke you, to test your stability. The relationship becomes a stage, and indifference is just a costume. Now, where do you come in? Don't buy into the act. A man who understands this dynamic doesn't react with desperation, doesn't try to prove himself. He sees the indifference for what it is, a disguise. Charisma is smiling, staying steady, and showing you don't need to play along. That control breaks her strategy, and here's the truth. Female indifference is like a poorly glued mask. If you don't lose yourself in the act, it starts to fall. And when it falls, the truth comes out. Pride versus longing. And that's when the real battle begins. Topic 4. The deadly battle. Pride versus longing. Let me tell you what most men don't get. Inside us women, there's a brutal battle between pride and longing. Pride makes me want to act strong, pretend I don't care, tell myself I won't reach out to him. But longing knocks me down without warning. It's a constant fight, and often we pretend we're winning while we're actually losing inside. When I tell my friends I don't miss him, you can bet that's pride talking. But then I pass by a place we used to go, or hear a song that reminds me of you, and suddenly longing hits me hard. My heart tightens and memories flood in. That's the side you don't see. We fight with our own memory. And the stronger the attraction was, the heavier the longing gets. That's why sometimes I act like I don't care, and out of nowhere I'll text you the next day. It's not indecision, it's inner war. Pride pulls me one way, longing pulls me the other. I try to convince myself I'm strong, but my heart keeps proving me wrong. Now pay attention. When you chase, when you try to convince me or prove something, you feed my pride. And if pride wins, I keep up the act. But if you stay, steady, live your life, show me you don't depend on me, longing takes over until it suffocates me. And at that point, no pride can resist. And here's where the real shock hits. When I realize that even without me, you're shining, growing, and moving forward. That's when pride crumbles and longing takes control. And trust me, no woman forgets a man who knew how to turn that game around. Topic 5. The shock of seeing you shine without her. I need to tell you something most women would never admit. Nothing hurts a woman's ego more than seeing a man who used to be hers thriving and shining without her. When you show up more confident, living fully, it's like a mirror being shoved in her face, showing exactly what she lost. Attraction that seemed dead wakes up again, now mixed with regret. Picture this. She put you aside, thinking you wouldn't move on. But suddenly, she sees you working out, growing in your career, surrounded by people who value you. It's a shock. And the worst part for her isn't just that you're better. It's that you're better without needing her approval. That kind of charisma rattles female behavior. Psychology explains it simply. When something she thought was guaranteed escapes and thrives on its own, the brain registers it as loss. That's why often, at this stage, she'll try to reconnect with subtle comments, liking old posts, or reaching out without reason. It's not coincidence, it's reaction. The relationship may be over, but the impact lingers. And let me be direct. If you want this effect, you can't fake it. You have to live it. Take that course you've been postponing, travel, build new friendships, develop yourself emotionally. This not only raises your value in her eyes, but proves to yourself you don't need anyone to grow. That's attraction, born from self-development. And here's the cruel part. When she sees you shining without her, the pride that once seemed untouchable starts to crack. And deep inside, a question keeps haunting her. If I had stayed, what would it be like today? That's when her mind goes into chaos, paving the way for something even heavier. Topic 6. When you let yourself be treated as disposable. If you let yourself be treated as an option, I see you as disposable. Simple as that. A woman notices when a man jumps just because he got crumbs of attention, and that kills attraction instantly. If I only reach out when I'm bored and you show up immediately, you know what I think? He has nothing better going on. That destroys your value. And women don't respect men who don't respect themselves. The man who values himself isn't always available. He doesn't swallow every excuse, doesn't tolerate disrespect. He shows with actions that he knows what he deserves, and then the opposite happens. The less you allow yourself to be used, the more I'm forced to respect you. And for us, respect is what keeps attraction alive. Once you get this, the game flips. Because believe me, no woman forgets the man who refused to be treated as disposable. Topic 7. Detachment that destroys egos and builds respect. Let me tell you something. Nothing is more powerful for a man than detachment. When you show you don't need to prove anything, that you won't beg for attention, the impact on a woman's ego is devastating. Female behavior expects control. But when she sees you doing just fine without needing anyone, respect is born. Detachment isn't coldness, it's maturity. It's when you decide you won't trade your value just because you're afraid of losing someone. Psychology is simple. The more you cling, the weaker you get. The freer you are, the more attractive you become. And women feel that. Want an example? When she notices you don't chase, don't react to every little provocation, and still keep evolving. In your career, your body, your social life, your charisma skyrockets. And then her mind starts to spin. How is he doing so well without me? Here's the point. Detachment isn't indifference, it's focus on yourself. When you put your energy into growing instead of filling her voids, the game flips. You become someone who inspires respect. And for a woman, respect is worth more than any love confession. And here's the hard truth. The man who masters detachment is never forgotten. Because deep down, we women can't erase from memory the man who proved he knew his own worth. So tell me, are you going to keep settling for crumbs, or be the man who earns respect and leaves her missing you? The choice is yours. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be there myself, talking with you, answering your questions. And trust me, it's going to be a pleasure to connect directly with you.